How's it going, everyone? Welcome to the Avoid the Fish YouTube channel. Today I'll be talking about the Tier 5 French battleship, the Dunkirk. It's a premium ship, available for 10,000 doubloons. It's in the ship tab, not the actual store page for World of Warships Legends. But anyways, we'll have a shorter video today. I won't be going into statistical analysis. We'll just talk about the history of the ship, the commanders, my personal build, and then we'll get right into the gameplay. So I'll leave timestamps in the description so you can jump around if you don't want to watch everything, but we'll jump right into it now. Like always, I'll try to blaze through this history. I encourage you to do more research on your own, though. But the Dunkirk was a Dunkirk-class battleship. There were a pair made, the Dunkirk and the Strasbourg. They were completed to counter the Deutschland-class cruisers. That would be the pocket battleships, as the English called them, but such as the Graf Spee that we see in game. But in World War II, they patrolled the Atlantic trying to find the Graf Spee, and when they were unsuccessful at that, they returned to Mers el Kabir in North Africa. But anyways, France neutralized their fleet whenever Germany invaded and France surrendered. They reached their armistice. And the attack on Mers el Kabir, where the British were worried that the French fleet would be handed over to the Germans, they sent Force H to sink all the French battleships, the whole fleet. And anyways, the Dunkirk was severely damaged, and unlike many other ships, she did not sink because her crew beached her to avoid the sinking. But she was eventually repaired and she returned to France. And then, whenever Germany occupied the rest of France in 1942, she fulfilled the promise that the French made that no French ship would ever fall into German hands, and they scuttled the Dunkirk. So, pretty amazing story there. But I'll jump into the commanders now. I apologize beforehand. I'm going to butcher all of this pronunciation for their names, but just get that out of the way. I'll go for it. But anyways, the first one we can do is Dunkirk. That's the easy pronunciation. The Azure Lane Dunkirk commander, very strong in the game. You get the Master Mechanic in slot 4, but you still have all the aggressive perks that you get from the attack commander, if you want to call it that. But very good. I didn't go with Dunkirk just because I have Jujard leveled up, and he has the base trait of Borer, which gives you better AP penetration. The other commander that you could use is Emile Gupra. He's more of the brawler build, secondary build. A little bit better for survival maybe, but as far as like putting the damage in there with your main battery, which is the strength of this ship, not as good as Jujard. So I went with Jujard, Robert Jujard. I apologize for the pronunciation once again, but he has Borer as his base trait, which is absolutely fantastic. Just increases the AP shell penetration of your battleship. I use him as an inspiration on almost all my other battleships. But for number 1, I went with Flammable Cannoneer. For number 2, Gyrating Drill Bits. And then number 3, I have Marksmanship. Number 4, I have Reaching Out XXL, just get that extra range. That's how I got my ship up to 17-kilometer range. And then lastly, we have the Will to Rebuild. If I did have the Legendary, that's what I'd be using, that is. I don't have him Legendary yet. But anyways, Jujard's the build that I went with. We'll look at his stats. So for survivability, 52,600 hit points, very good. Torpedo damage reduction at 25%. That's kind of what you want at this tier. Obviously, if you can get up to like the 30s, that's better. But 25 is solid, nothing to complain about. The artillery, the strength of the ship is the main battery, like pretty much every other battleship. But anyways, it's a 2x4, so you have your 2 turrets, 4 guns on each. They're 330 millimeters. They're both mounted on the front of the ship, so you get all the firepower by just pointing your bow straight forward or pretty much angled at the enemy. You don't have to go broadside to get your full damage. Maneuverability, maximum speed, 27.4 knots. Turning circle radius of 730 meters. That's absolutely fantastic. Feels like a cruiser almost, at least for me. I did not get hit by many torpedoes because this thing turns amazingly. Feels like you're drifting in like a destroyer almost. But anyways, rudder shift time of 14.7 seconds. And then concealment of 14 kilometers of detectability range by sea. That's pretty standard. I never really worry about concealment with my battleships. If you do, it's 14 kilometers. But we'll get into the kit real quick before we jump into the gameplay. You have 3 repair parties. They're just a standard repair party. 263 damage per second is restored, and they last for 28 seconds. They're solid. There's not much you can complain about there. They're not super heals, but they're still good. And then you get your 3 fighters just to help you spot. They last for a minute 30. Standard stuff there. But we'll jump into the gameplay now. Jumping right into the gameplay, we're playing on the map Fault Line. It is a tier 3, 4, and 5 battle. They have one tier 3, that is. But mostly it's tier 4s and 5s. So I am the upper class of these ships. I spawn mid, and a lot of the time whenever you spawn mid in a battleship on this map, it means you're going to be sailing quite a long ways to get into any action. because pushing mid can be very deadly. There's not really any island cover except right up against the B flag. But what do? We steam into B. I've noticed on domination on this map, not on whenever you're playing like capture the base, but on domination, ships will often just sail straight to the A and the C flags, and B is left pretty much wide open except for maybe a destroyer or a cruiser, or maybe one battleship pushes it. But you're usually pretty safe on domination, at least if you push mid. That's not always the case. You can get absolutely lit up, so don't just take it as, you know, push mid every time with a battleship whenever you spawn there. But I go ahead and do it. I love this ship's firepower. If I can get up there quick enough, I can shoot all these battleships that have their broadsides exposed that are sailing to sea, which is fantastic. I take an awful shot here. I thought this Russian battleship, the Veliki, was going to be speeding up quite a bit there, but he just kept it slow, probably at like half of his full power. But missed everything in that salvo. But the second salvo is reloading. This French AP is fantastic. You're going to be citadeling a ton of battleships. And every single shot that you take, whenever they're even slightly broadside, is just going to put out massive damage. Anyways, we get that second salvo off, and boom, we take out 11k of his health, which is a lot at tier 5. But this Fubuki, it's getting aggressive. It's been spotted by the destroyer that's helping me inside B. I think this guy's turning right, but no, he's turning towards me. He's going to try to suicide toward me, it looks like. So I quickly switched to the HE just to make sure that I can actually do a ton of damage on this guy. Maybe take out his engines or torpedo tubes, make him use his damage control party. He's got 2/3 health. I load up all the way. And we take the shot as he turns broadside. And boom, look, he has no health left. He's on fire. He's already used his damage control party because he's not putting it out. And I'm turning to avoid those torpedoes. You know he's launched them at me. This ship has a fantastic turning radius, so you can get out of the way quite quickly. But I'm out of the way. You'll see these torps, they're coming at me, but they're no threat now. You know, that guy, he made a big mistake. Trying to rush a French battleship that has the ability to load that HE. You know that you're 6 kilometers away, and they'll have it loaded well before you get there. But my AP's loading. I'm trying to slow down so that I can get one more shot off at this Veliki and it doesn't hit these trees. One of the most frustrating things in the game is when a tree stops a 16-inch shell. But anyways, we get the shot off. They don't get blocked by the trees. Wait for it. Boom. 3 citadels. That ship basically 2 salvos from. I know I missed the first one, so it's technically 3, but 2 salvos of actual hits, and he's out of the game. That's a battleship, you know. That's always good whenever that can happen. Now I'm getting lit up from the left. I've used this island to hide from the other battleships on that side because there's 3 of them over there. But this Königsberg is shooting at me. He's already been hit pretty hard by a battleship on the 8th capture spot, so he's trying to get behind that island, and he successfully avoids the spot and is behind the island, so we can't shoot at him. But we do capture B, which is fantastic. Looks like they might be capturing A and C, so it's really good that we got B, because then they'll have a 1-point advantage instead of a 2. In domination, it's always so important, you guys know this, but to capture those bases instead of sitting back, if you can help in a capture with your battleship, whether it be you shoot at ships that are shooting your destroyer trying to make the cap, you know, take some of the fire off them, or at least put pressure on the ships that are shooting at them, or if you can actually get forward. But this Königsberg, he reappears, he takes a shot at me. That was a big mistake. I take a shot, look away, you know, walk away from the explosion. We know he's dead. And we hit a citadel on him. Actually, only 1 shot hit, but it was a citadel, so it took him out of the game. And now we have these 3 battleships that we're trying to chase down. Unfortunately, from here on out, the gameplay kind of tapers because all these ships are running away from me. But I think the beginning of this game really showcases the actual strength of this French AP and the Dunkirk. Having those 4 guns on each to the 2 turrets on the front of the ship, it is fantastic. You can bow tank, you can avoid getting hit by torpedoes, or if you do get hit, it's only by 1 usually. You're also fast, so you can chase down ships like this. I'm going to speed up the gameplay here. We'll go ahead and jump over to whenever I'm actually in action again, not just taking shots at these guys that are angled and running away from me. But yeah, we'll speed up here. I'll tell you a little bit about the ship while it's going on. But this ship, it doesn't have the best armor. If you get multiple battleships that are targeting you and you're not angled well against them, even if you are angled well against them, you still take a lot of damage. So just know that if you're going to play this ship, don't expect to go in tanky. Don't expect to rush and have good results if you're just rushing without any island cover or anything that you can use to hide behind. But anyways, as we slow down the gameplay here, we're reaching around this island. I zoom in on my main guns. The reason to do that is to make sure that whenever I shoot, I don't have any of those shots just hit the rocks there in front of me. Just a little tip there. But this Corvette, it's coming around the mountain, and we go ahead and we take this shot. as he's turning towards me. He's trying to angle. It's a little bit late for that, and boom, we take out 11,207 damage of his HP. He is a tier 3 ship, so he's not armored well against my guns, but you do this consistently to any battleship that you'll be playing in the game, even the tier 6s. Maybe the one exception to that would be something like a Scharnhorst that has that turtleback armor scheme, but everything else you can absolutely destroy with these guns, and you can still light up the Scharnhorst as well, don't get me wrong. Any battleship in the game, if you're not angled properly, you can get lit up by any AP, but this French AP is fantastic. This Corvette, he's trying to run away. He's got 5 ships on him. He doesn't have a chance. He's a tier 3 ship in a tier 4 or 5 game. But anyways, we come around the mountain. He's taking a lot of damage. We want to make sure we get our shot off. And, oh, a little bit disappointing. Only 5k damage. He's avoiding those torps, though, so as we reload, we're hoping we can finish off this kill in the match with 4 sinks, which is always solid. You get much more than an average of 80,000 damage on this ship. If you play this ship and you don't get blown up in the middle at the beginning of the game, you'll easily have 100k damage games, 120k plus usually. Not usually, but if it's a good game, it's 120k damage plus. But fantastic, fantastic battleship. We take our last shot, finish him off, and there's our 4 sinks. You can see the rest of the action. There's 2 other ships left on the enemy team. They're on the opposite side of the map. It'd probably be about 15 minutes for me to sail all the way over there. But anyways, guys, it really means a lot if you guys can like the video and subscribe. I really appreciate the feedback too that you provide in the comments. So if you have any of what ship I should do next or whatever's going on, man, just leave it down in the comments. Really thank you for watching the videos. I'm working on a couple different projects for this channel. I'm going to be launching Road to the Großer Kurfürst. That's the ship, the legendary ship that I'm working on, and we'll see some of those videos popping up on the channel sometime soon. But thanks for your patience with everything, and just enjoy the rest of your day and have smooth sailing out there. See ya.